Hello everyone. Welcome back to the platform. So today I have a very exciting guest. We are joined by someone whose academic journey would actually inspire you. And what makes her special is that we are both alumni from the same program. From our bachelors, I guess, from our bachelors to our masters. So that is something that is special for me. And her journey, she's going to talk about her journey, her experiences in studying abroad, and she's going to be talking about, some specifics for the program that she did. And she's mainly here because of the Erasmus Mundus program, and she will probably relate her experience based on her program, EMA-BG, European Master in Animal Breeding and Genetics. But do not worry, whatever experiences that are in her program are almost similar to other programs that you would see in the Erasmus Mundus programs. Because here we have always talked about how the Erasmus Mundus catalog is very vast, very, wide. It has people in different categories. But I hope that Lucy's experience would actually inspire you guys to start your journeys to study abroad. So she's going to share her story, break down how she did the application process back then when she did, and then also talk about, different aspects of mobility, because when you are enrolled as an Erasmus Mundus student, you are most likely to be moving between countries. So thank you so much, Lucy, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Kundai, for having me.
So I will start with one question. Could you tell us about yourself, where you're from, and how you became interested in the field that you are in right now?
That's perfect. So, I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, in rural parts of Zimbabwe, actually, where farming is just a source of livelihood. And also growing up surrounded by animals, I really became so fascinated with livestock production. And I was also liking agriculture. In my secondary school. And I eventually went on to pursue animal production and technology at Chinhoyi University of Technology. And then I graduated as a best graduating student in 2019. And, during the course of the program, I got an internship at a farm, which was also focusing on animal breeding. Like they were buying in, better breeds and crossbreeding to improve the local breeds and stuff, doing breeding for different breeds. So by attending the auctions, I became really interested in animal breeding and genetics. And I was also lucky that after finishing my bachelor's, I got an opportunity as a part-time graduate teaching assistant in animal genetics and animal improvement. So I would say that's it about my background.
Okay, so I see that you started interacting with animals at a very young age, and that shaped, the profession that you're working in. And so now I would want to move up towards the Erasmus Mundus program. So how did you first come across the Erasmus Mundus EMABG program?
Okay, yeah. So after completing my bachelor's, I joined the alumni group where they post vacancies, field experiences there. And then I came across this Erasmus Mundus scholarship, like someone posted a link there. And then I was like, by then I had already started, applying for scholarships. So because I wanted also to, to further my studies in animal breeding because I already have experience. So I was like, okay, why not just pursue my studies in that particular field? So I had already started looking for opportunities. And before I started the application, in fact, I reached out to the lecturer I was teaching with, and I was like, okay, scholarship. I think I want to give it a try. And then I think that's where he referred me to you. And I remember reaching out to you on WhatsApp, telling you that I'm also planning to apply this scholarship.
Yes, so as I told you guys, me and Lucy share quite a background because I
Mhm.
was also an alumni for that program. So that's how we got to know each other. But your story is almost similar to mine. I also discovered the Erasmus Mundus program through a WhatsApp group, an alumni group, which was also posting links in the group, different links for jobs, for field studies, for fellowships. And I hope that you guys see the importance of being part of the alumni groups of your respective programs, because that's where most information related to your program is shared. But I also wanted to ask, before applying, of course, you did your research through me, asking me how this program structure is and like how the country, how other countries are involved. Besides what I shared, what also did you do? Because, of course, you could not rely entirely on me.
That's true.
So, yes,
That's
yes,
true.
people might think that you have to rely on someone whom you know. So, yeah, I want to
Yeah,
clear that up. Yes.
yeah, it's true. It's true. To be honest, I go through the link and I went through their website. So everything is there, like the eligibility, the application requirements, timeline and everything. So I started just, reading and trying to understand like what exactly are they looking for the aims and their goals. So that's what I had to research also on my own to understand.
Mhm.
Then, of course, I had to reach out just to see clarity where I could not understand or anything. But eventually, everything is just clear and it's well stated on the website there. So,
Yes, I love that you mentioned that you went on the website, like read through it and researched, because I think that's where most students, want clarity on the application. So
mhm.
I know that you went there and you researched, but can you just walk us through like the application process, like what you did step by step until the application was dropped to the EMABG committee?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the applications opens around the 15th September, and then the deadline is around January 15th. So I think I remember I started my application around November. So it took me close to like 2 months to get everything. So the first thing I had to do, I had to put everything together in terms of the certificates. I had to create a folder like on my computer and scan all my certificates, transcript, passport, and everything. I had a checklist, and then I make sure that I had all the necessary documents or all the required documents before hitting the start application. So, and the other key thing, because of course certificate, I already had it, like transcript, these are my personal documents, I have them. But of course you have to reach out they want like 2 recommendation letters, either academic one or maybe from the industry, from the current job that you are working. So,
Yes.
that can take some time, because you can reach to some of the professors or managers and they'll be like, oh, we are out for a holiday, or I will be back in office next week, something like that. So you need to wait. And that's the reason why it takes time to
To
have the
gather the
documents. And
documents.
there are
Yes,
some like
yes.
proof of residence. Also, they need like proof of residence. You need
Mm-hmm.
to go. If you're not a landlord by then, like me, I was not a landlord by then. So, I had to get like a utility bill, either
Mm-hmm.
electricity or water bill. And then, you have to go to the city council, or either, sign, like a landlord can sign in affidavit just to
Mm-hmm.
confirm that you live there. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's a process. You have to go to the city council. Sometimes they say, no, you only do this at certain time of the day, or the person who does this is not around. So you will find that you will be hawking in and out like 3 or 4 times. So it really takes time to gather around all the
Gather
documents. So it
documents.
took me
Yes.
like close to 2 months to get everything, and also to have my motivational letter ready. Yeah. And then once I had all the required documents, that's when I hit the start application document, and everything was smooth. When you have everything, it's easy just to click submit, and then you're good to go. Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. And I really like that you explained how the process takes time, because I think most students out there think that it's an overnight thing that you can do. So if you need 2 months to gather all the documents, or even more, depending on the system, you have in your respective country or in your respective area, that means preparation has to start early. And I think that's also the reason why sometimes we encourage people to start applying, to start gathering documents even a year before they start like the process, because it takes time. And I like that you mentioned the recommendation letter. It is an integral part of the Erasmus Mundus application, and you students don't need to take it for granted. As you said, professors are busy people, so they don't stop their program because somebody said, I want a recommendation letter. So I like that you mentioned that, and I hope that students are actually learning that you need to prepare on time. And then you also mentioned motivation letters. Speaking on that, how did you structure yours? What advice would you give to students writing theirs now? You don't need to get into the technicalities, but just give an idea of how you structured yours.
Okay, yeah. So for motivational letter, it's not really about you. So you don't need to talk much about yourself. You need to have a broader context, how that can benefit maybe a nation as a whole. So for mine, I think I mentioned that, agriculture is a backbone in terms of the economics in my country, and as part of agriculture and livestock, they also contribute to food and stuff. So, and then I went on to talk about the challenges that are being faced by the livestock sector, disease prevalence, livestock feed, and then that's when I bring in like breeding as a solution. It's a permanent, it's cumulative,
Yes.
it's less costly. I talk about all that, on a broader context, and then I later bring in me. I really want to be part of the solution. I really
Yes.
want to be competent in that area so I can also help out my nation. And then I had to talk about why me. You need to
Yes.
spell
Was
out
so
yourself
exceptional.
what
Yes.
what do
That's
you have
true.
what it takes. That's where I mentioned about the modules that I did during my bachelor's, and I mentioned about my experience, and my work experience, even the internship experience, and I was more specific to what they are looking for. What I have said in the beginning, like you have to go and look out, like what exactly are they looking for, like structure of the modules, what is it that we're doing during internship that's related to breeding, what is it that you're doing maybe on during maybe working or your work or your job that's related or that can be transferred to to breeding, all that. So, and then in the end you have to talk, how does it benefit, like after you got the scholarship,
You have done.
yeah, how are you going to be of benefit to others? So I think that's overall how I just structure it, and most importantly talk about, sell yourself out, say
Yes.
everything.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for explaining that. And I think it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in animal breeding and genetics, but exactly how you explained it actually
Mm.
shows how the structure of your motivation has to be. So whether you're
Mm.
studying economics, whether you're studying social, sciences and all of that, the structure is almost similar. So thank you so much for bringing that out. I know that you have explained the application process, but were there any challenges that you faced during the application? And if they were there, how did you overcome them?
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I think we have the required documents. That's the most important part, and
Mhm.
it was really challenging. I mean, to get some of these documents,
Yes.
it took me so much time, and sometimes, if you're not patient enough, honestly, you can easily give up. Like, you need to constantly check on people to remind them. You need also to constantly just, you can work for like 2, 3, 5 times just for one document, to get one document.
Yes, yes,
So I would
yes.
say it's something that was really challenging and I had no control over it. But I would say you
Um,
need to be patient. You need to be keep on going, like, pressing on and don't give
Yes.
up
Yes.
until you get everything you want. And as for the website, everything was quite clear. I don't want to lie,
Quite
like
clear.
everything
Mhm.
is pretty straightforward there. Yeah.
Okay. I love that you mentioned the challenges which were related to people. So I hope that as you are listening, you are seeing that when you're doing your scholarship application, it's not only entirely on you, but it's also related to other people. For example, the people that are giving you recommendation letters. And I love that you are like advising students to be patient, to be resilient, because I think that's
Mhm.
where most of the scholarship applications died, because someone could not be patient, could not keep on knocking on a door asking for a recommendation letter. So, guys out there,
Mhm.
be resilient, keep on knocking until you get what you want. Otherwise, it's very easy, as Lucy said, to really give up. Now, enough of the EMABG program application process, because I know that my audience brings out people from different disciplines. But now we want to talk about mobility across Europe. I think when everyone hears Erasmus, they know that, there's a lot of mobility. This means that for people who don't understand mobility, it means that when you're on Erasmus program, right, you will get a chance to study in different countries. Could you tell us which countries you studied during your program?
Okay, so something important about the EMAVG is there are study tracks there. So students are assigned at different university depending on the study track that you are doing. So for me, my first year was in Germany at the
Mhm.
University of Göttingen. And
Yes.
then I did my second year at Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences in Sweden. Those are the two countries that I studied. But of course, in between, we went for like summer school in Vienna, which was the hosting country. So in Austria, yeah.
Yes. So, how did moving between countries influence your academic growth and your understanding? And also, I understand that you moved from Germany to the Nordic countries, the cold. So, would love to hear more about that so that people are well advised when it comes to how you would move around, irrespective of which country you go to.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So these are totally two different countries, as you have said. Like the Sweden is on the is Nordic, like it's extremely cold, and then uh, German, even in terms of language, they speak different language. Even in terms of currents, in Sweden we were using Swedish krona, so and in German we're using the euros, so it was really different altogether in terms of the currency, language, even the culture, even the cost of living as well was different. But, in German, I think I would say it was comparatively cheap compared to Sweden.
Yes.
And when you go even to the stores, you find that everything is in Dutch. You had to walk
Yes.
around with a translator. You needed to
Mm-hmm.
translate everything. I remember at one point I I bought vinegar. I had mistaken it for cooking oil, and then when I went home, I was like, "Oh, this,
Oh my god. I
I
think
know
I think anyone who has moved into a country that doesn't use English as their main language has had that experience, because I also remember buying something that was completely for animals and not for for humans. So yeah, I totally understand that part. So did the mobility present, of course, you talked about cost of living and cost of living expenses, the differences in the, the weather and everything. Could you tell us, what really helped you settle in each new environment? Because it is important that students understand or maybe get to learn from you how you managed your situation.
Yeah, that's true. It's important to have community in each and every country. So for me, um, we had this Erasmus Mundus group, and we were organizing like hikes, even movies during the weekends. We could go out together as a group. go to the city center, grab maybe pizza or a donut, just walking around, seeing some places. So I would say like people in my program, they were quite friendly. And then also on top of that, also I had to find a local church. I also going to a church on Sundays, and it helps me like, meet other people outside of the program. Every day in class, I had, other people from different countries. So it really helped me to socialize and settle in. I think that was the same as well in Sweden. That was the quite approach that I used as well. I had few friends even from Zimbabwe, go out for gaming, just take a walk in the city, attend some shows. So it really helped me to settle down, make friends.
Yes, I like that you brought out the community part because I think life abroad needs you to have a community because you would have moved from a familiar environment to an unfamiliar environment. So when you come, if you close yourself out, you will see that you would be, more depressed, more stressed. But if you go out, join community groups, as you are saying, you tend to settle down a bit earlier or a bit faster, and you also tend to learn ways of overcoming the different challenges that comes with mobility or that comes with moving abroad. So thank you so much for bringing that up. I'm going to move on to talk about life as an Erasmus Mundus scholar, like alumni after. How was the academic environment as compared to where you were coming from, in this case, Zimbabwe? And you could also mention like what opportunities did the program open for you? Anything that could actually entice someone who was out there maybe hesitating to be an Erasmus Mundus scholar.
Yeah, I would say the in terms of the structure, or it's totally different from SIM. It's really
Yes.
different, and they want to make it as practical as possible
Mm-hmm.
here. So you find out some of the exams, they were like oral exams, which was
Mm-hmm.
quite my first experience having an oral exam.
Mm-hmm.
Just a minute, we're having like theory exams, but here you can have like one-on-one exam, where you get to be asked questions and you have to answer. And also, even some of the exams, they were practical as well. Like on your
Mm-hmm.
computer, they will give you like real data that you have to perform some certain analysis,
Mm-hmm.
of what you've learned. So it's more like execution. Did you get it? It's
Yes.
not like cramming. You don't have to cram.
Mm-hmm.
You really
Mm-hmm.
have to understand each and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you won't have much time, like to say, to start for exams. So you really
Mm-hmm.
need to start as you go. You don't have to wait and say,
Yes.
okay, I'll start later when it's time for exams. I'll have like maybe 2 weeks preparation for exam. No, there's nothing like that. You can literally stop attending class today and then the exam is tomorrow. So, it's not like cramming and understand each and everything as they are teaching. That's how different it is. But it's really help me to fully understand and be confident in what I'm doing.
So what opportunities did the program open for you?
Yeah, so this program also offers internships. We don't really have breaks. I mean, during the vacation, we had to attend mandatory internships, summer school, and so on. So to really understand the research concept. So I'd say all that shapes me and helped me to want to pursue my research. So I later applied for a PhD in also
Oh,
in that animal breeding and genetics field as well.
okay. Congratulations on that. So looking back, what would you say was your biggest personal or academic growth point during your EMABG journey?
Okay, yeah, I'd say this independent research, where you know you have to work on your own and analyze the results, communicate your findings. That was like biggest learning experience where sometimes you really need to push yourself. There's no one coming to push for you, you're the one who have to go to the supervisors, organize the meetings and all that, and make sure that you achieve everything in time.
Thank you so much, Lucy. But before we close, I would like to ask you a few questions pertaining advice for future applications, because I know that you have already given us, a lot of information regarding the Erasmus Mundus application process, how you did it in your experiences. Let's say there's someone out there who wants to apply for an Erasmus Mundus program. How can they choose referees or secure strong recommendation letters? What advice would you give them when it comes to doing that? Because I understand that, of course, they have control over their motivation letters and stuff. But what advice would you give them when choosing referees and also securing recommendation letters?
Okay. So the thing, you don't have to choke your potential references. You need to communicate. I mean, you need to have like a good, relationship. Like communicate
Relationship.
prior to you asking for the recommendation. Someone who knows you, whom you worked with, either
Mhm.
maybe your supervisor, someone who supervised you during the bachelors, or someone who worked with you day to day, who knows your strength. Because for the recommendation, it's all about, telling your strength, be it academic or maybe practical, something that
Understood.
you're good at.
Yes.
They really need to say out good things about you. So go for people who know you because, a bad recommendation can weigh you down. I don't want to yeah. So
Yes, and I think you just made me remember one story about a close friend who thought someone was going to write a good recommendation letter for her. Later on, the friend did not get the opportunity, but then they reached out to understand where they lagged behind or why they didn't get it. And the selection committee was kind enough to let her know that, you know what, everything else was fine, but the
mhm.
recommendation letter that we got from ABCD was not fine. They could not give the details specifically because of ethical issues,
Yeah,
but imagine how one would just lose an opportunity because of a bad referee or because of a bad recommendation letter. So that's the reason why I asked you about it, because I know the other parts we have control over them, but for
for
recommendation letters,
recommendation.
there is
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of,
true.
things going on. Now, lastly, would you give, advice for students from Africa specifically? I know that my audience is coming from various parts of the world, but would you give advice to students from Africa or Zimbabwe specifically who may feel unsure about their chances? Because, not everyone is, well versed in these things.
Yeah, it's true. I'd say for Africans, just be authentic. Just tell your story. There are people out there who are really interested in knowing your story. Like, there are
Mm-hmm,
people like for this EMAPG program, it's really diverse. They really want to make sure that they pick, like people from different countries. They maximize,
mm-hmm,
like they take maximum of two students per country.
mm-hmm,
So, and they want to maintain diversity, and they encourage each and everyone to apply, especially from developing countries. So I would
mm-hmm.
say just be authentic, and you never know, you definitely get it.
Yes. So thank you so much, Lucy, for the advice. And I think we have covered the basis that someone wants to know about the Erasmus Mundus program, or even know about, EMABG to be specific, has an idea of what the program entails. And I hope that to my Zimbabwean community, you are seeing that you can do it. If you were worried about applying for a program because you don't know if someone did it, I hope Lucy's story actually inspires you to start your journey and ensure that you go for those dreams. So, Lucy, thank you so much for sharing your story, giving us such practical insights. And I know that your journey will definitely motivate students out there. So, to everyone who is watching, if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also feel free to drop in comments. I will try to answer as much as I can, whether it's for the EMA BG program or Erasmus Mundus program in general. I will try to answer. And the Erasmus Mundus program, EMA BG to be specific, European Masters in Animal Breeding and Genetics, is open for application. So do so well to go to the website that I would attach in the comments and see if this program fits you. So thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video, guys. Bye.